She wants to move in. Give me all my. She wants to move in. People, what next? That was a song by this man from the D.C. area whose name was Root Boy Slim. Now, I thought the guy was fantastic. He was super imaginative, and I loved his music. I really did. I loved his lyrics. He had the funniest songs around. He was incredible, and he passed away. I don't think he was older than 15 years old when he passed away. Hold on a second. Okay, my phone just mysteriously shut off on me. Okay, let me continue. You might say, Sayaka, that this is my filibuster while I'm waiting for you, okay? And what am I going to do? I'm filibustering. With the time I got, what else am I going to do, okay? I'm not just going to sit here and wait. I got to do something, so let me tell this story. How did I find out that my supervisor at the National Library of Medicine, where I was shelving books, was the roommate of Root Boy Slim? Well, around the time I was leaving Teddy, that was the Telecommunications Exchange for the Deaf Incorporated was called. It's an acronym. I guess that's what it is. The letters of each of those words. Telecommunications, T. Exchange, E. For the deaf, D. Incorporated, I. Teddy. Okay? Well, I was finishing up working at Teddy. I published my first book of poetry, Literary Flowers. It was self-published, and I was very proud of it, and I did publish it myself. At my own expense, I published about 200 copies. Just about all those copies are now in the Montgomery County dump. Well, they're gone by now, but I had some of them were in boxes I had never opened. And for years I kept those, and I kept them like in a closet inside the house. Didn't put them in the attic. I didn't want to expose them to the heat and the cold of the attic. And I kept them in a closet where the temperature was like 70 degrees in the house. And I was moving those boxes for years, trying to hold on to those books. But finally, I said, well, what's the use, right? And I threw all my books into the Montgomery County dump. These were all my self-published books that I thought were beautifully published. One of them just published in Hong Kong. They just did an outstanding job. That was Portraits Deep in the Castle, which had a lot of illustrations by my wife. They just did an outstanding job. I was so proud of that book, but I got like 1 or 2 copies of it left out of the 200 I had self-published. So I finished this book. I got it self-published, and I had a copy, and I was giving it to certain people because, I wasn't going to sell that thing. No one was going to buy it. And so I gave a copy to my supervisor. I'm not going to say his name. And so when he got the copy, he said, wow, he was very impressed. Wow, you did this yourself? I said, yeah. He said, wow, this is great. So he said, you know what? My roommate is Root Boy Slim. And like a day or two after I gave him the book, he came and he said, I talked to him and showed him your book, and he says he wants to meet you. Now, this guy, Root Boy Slim, was a kind of celebrity in D.C. He was. And my supervisor's telling me he wants to meet me, when you're studying literature, you read about in the past, this writer wanted to meet that writer and so on. And nothing like this had ever happened to me before, so I felt good in hearing that, but I didn't really want to meet this guy. I just didn't. Not anything to do with him, to do with me being that I was living in a halfway mental prison house. So no, I didn't want to meet him. So I didn't meet him, but I could have, apparently. Anyway, I do love his music, and I have recordings of a lot of his stuff, and it's just hilarious. The lyrics are just incredible. But I was looking at him online one night, like within the past few months. He's passed away, by the way, years ago. I don't know how many now. Probably at least a decade or more ago. And I saw he was given a performance. I'm not going to say where, because I don't want to get sued by the people I'm talking about, okay? In America, apparently, since the court, this is my opinion, since the courts don't work here, okay, the country proceeds by accusation. Whoever's able to make the most authoritative accusation, and these are usually people with money or power, they win at this game. So you're not going to get any justice in the courts. The courts are a game, okay? Let's quote Bob Dylan when he's talking about Hurricane Carter. He says, when he's thinking about what happened to Hurricane Carter and the injustice that happened to him, justice is a game in that case, okay? And justice has become a game in the United States played by what you call the educated class, okay? And you can forget about justice here. Forget it, okay? Now, let me try to stay with what I was talking about and not get emotionally overwhelmed by past experiences I've had that are now crowding in on me and keeping me from continuing. I call this an emotional blackout now. I'm fighting it, and I'm trying to stay on track and remember what I was talking about. I got to put this on pause. Oh yeah, I was saying, because there's no justice, okay, you're going to hire a lawyer and pay, spend all your money on the lawyer, and what are you going to get? At the end, you're going to get some kind of agreement where nobody admits guilt or any. It's just ridiculous. And if you're not in going to court to get money, you don't want money. I'm not trying to make millions of dollars. I don't want money. I want justice. Okay? Forget the money, this kind of thing. Forget it. In the justice system, forget it. So, I don't want to get in agreement with somebody where they're not going to admit guilt and give me some money. Okay? This is ridiculous. Okay? So, I'm trying to stay on track here. Once again, I'm in emotional blackout. I got to pause. Okay, I'm not quite sure I can remember what I was talking about, but I do remember saying that I self-published my first book of poetry. And why I was saying that, I'm not sure, but I was saying I was shelving books at the National Library of Medicine, and now I'm not even sure what this note was about, but what difference does it make? This is a filibuster, right? In Congress, when they're filibustering, they'll take like a phone book and just read the phone book. You know, this person's name and a number. And they just go through the phone book and they spend hours doing that. And this is all sane and reasonable. Oh boy, okay. So it doesn't really matter. I got this time like under house arrest here in the United States. That's what I'm calling it. It's my term for it. And I could explain why I'm saying that, because I'm being followed everywhere and harassed everywhere. So is my wife. So it's like being under house arrest. You're going to go somewhere. Look, I'm not going to go to your country, okay, to look for you. I can't afford it, and it's not going to do me any good. I don't have any stories to tell that would be of any value to the place where you used to work. I have no such stories to tell. And I have no such personal stories about injustice to tell, because I don't have any proofs for the things I'm saying. And because I'm up against the secret police, I may not be able to get those proofs, no matter where I am. Those folks get in there and ruin things. Like my attempt to get Italian citizenship, that was a cheat. And if I ever get a chance to show that, which I probably won't, I could show just how I was cheated out of that. So if I can't even do a simple thing, I'm not going to do a large thing, right? The scriptures say you can't trust somebody in large matters that you can't trust in small matters. So if I can't trust that I can do small things, how can I trust that I do large things? I can't. So I'm going to stay right here in this house till you show up and get me out. That's the only possibility, okay? And I've been telling you that for quite some time. So since you haven't showed up, I figure there's some reason you can't. Well, in that case, there's nothing I can do about that, okay? Nothing, okay? So, do I want to say anything else here? Let me put this on pause. Well, let me just say one more thing in the filibuster here. When I self-published this book of mine, okay, not only did I give a copy to my supervisor at the National Library of Medicine where I was shelving books, but at the time I was in the halfway prison house work program, okay, and I had a counselor for that. He was a middle-aged man who had gone to, I'm not going to be more precise because, like I say, in America, and now I'm remembering some of the things I was saying, it doesn't matter whether people are right or not in their accusations when they accuse. Just how much power do they have and how much weight do they have with the public? How much authority do they carry in their place in American social or work life, right? If you're going up against a liar like Harry Powell, right, in The Night of the Hunter, a man who is a serial murderer pretending to be a reverend, a man of God, for quite convincingly, okay? He's there singing, bringing in the sheaves, bringing in the sheaves, and leading prayer meetings among a group of people who were looking at him for spiritual guidance. He's doing all these things, and somebody like that accuses you, and you say, listen, this guy is a murderer. He's a liar. Who's going to believe you, right? And somebody like that is going to be accusing you in America. You're going to go to court and prove that the guy's a liar? No, you're not. You're not going to prove any such thing, and his accusations are going to destroy you. He's a liar and a murderer, and he will destroy you in America by the way things are going here. Who has the loudest, strongest accusation? That's who wins in the United States, okay? So, I'm in the halfway prison house work program, and I give this guy who's my counselor a copy of my book. Well, when I gave it to him, I signed my name, and I added a biblical quote before my signature. I'm trying to think, what was the quote? I don't remember now, but it was from what Christians called the Old Testament and Jews called the Tanakh. I'm trying to remember what the quote was. I don't remember. But anyway, I gave him the book. I was proud and happy to give him a copy, right? Well, what does he do? The next day, he comes in, and in front of everybody in that place where all the people are, the counselors and the inmates of the halfway mental prison are all in there, and right in front of everybody, he takes the copy that I gave him. This is a counselor, mind you. I don't have a copy of a book. Hold on, let me get one, because I want to do show and tell on this. I don't want this copy of this book. Why not? What's wrong? I don't believe in what you said in that quote there. I don't want that. Okay, so that was supposed to teach me a lesson of some kind. I'm somebody who's supposed to be severely disturbed, okay? I got no money. I got no friends. Got no supporters. I'm considered to be a danger to everyone around the world. I'm someone who inspires fear. People are running for the exits when they see me coming around. And I'm unemployed. I don't have a place to live. And this is the treatment I get from this man. Okay, he's trying to teach me a lesson of some kind. Well, whatever it was. I gotta say, I didn't like that, and it didn't feel good to be embarrassed in front of everybody in that place at that moment, the way he did that. Now, he's trying to teach me a lesson of some kind. He's a very wise man. I don't think so. So, let me end my filibuster by saying, Sayaka, I am ready to leave the United States, clothes on my back, the way my Nazi concentration camp survivor friend says she was back in her country at the time she left. And she did leave, clothes on her back, way back in the 1950s. Well, that's all from me for now. Bye for now.